Hello and welcome to the new year, same old LDO. Tonight you're joined by everyone's favourite Curry Kitten.
Hello.
The lifeblood of the show, Stephen.
Cheers, mate. Hello.
The you should never go full tard, Jack. The king of the castle and somewhat of the dirty rascal drone junkie, Gem.
Sorry.
Hello.
And still hasn't figured out after 6 years the audio device. My darling wife, Tony.
Bonjour. I forget that my
Hello.
YouTube starts playing every time.
Hello to everyone in the
did it last
chat. I'm
time.
sorry we're late. It was me. I'm very unwell.
It's your fault, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, we're here now. That's all that matters.
Well, you've been coughing up smoke.
Oh no. Last time I've got a Dyson fan, and the ppm was like off the chart in my. It took me about half an hour to vent to atmosphere. I must say that I used the fan that Magical Pencil gave me, and I had that going. I had the other window open. Everything. It was a living nightmare. Please.
Well, I'm sure we have the opportunity to kill it with fire. It sounds like what we want to be going for. So hope you've got the fireworks at the ready, Jack.
Yes. Yep. They're always within arm's reach of the show.
Good.
So that's all good.
So we should introduce our
Thanks to
guest,
Richard for
Drone Junkie.
my link.
Yeah.
That's very nice of Richard. He's posted my link there a few times. Thanks, Richard. That's
He
lovely.
will,
Boom, boom, boom.
Richard
Yeah.
Warwick from the chat. He will do that.
Smashed it in there.
What a legend. Yes, Jen, I hear that you've
That's
been running a event. People
A
have
bit
been
more than
racing
an
whoops.
event. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I wanted to get away from the whole one day thing. Like
Okay.
one day at a time. It's just so much work, and you don't get enough back out of it. You know what I mean? So,
Not enough bang for your buck. You're not a one night stand.
well,
Kind of
everyone.
guy.
I think this goes across the board. Like, there's so many people that do these events, and it's like 3 hours to set up and take down. Half of their day's gone, half of their evening's gone. Whereas, like, what we're trying to do is it's a permanent space, and it's already set up. You just turn up and turn on, yeah, ready to fly. And that, I think, gives it a lot more flavour. And we've got where we can help people. Do you see what I mean? Like, we do a lot of setup stuff. So a lot of new people come to us and they're like, "Oh, he's not talking. What's this beta stuff?" Yeah, and we get them over that first little hurdle. Because what you want new people to have is that bit of satisfaction. Yeah, I want this new toy. I want to play with it, and I want that little bit of satisfaction that makes me want to play with it next time. But what they're finding is problem. Oh, put it down. And next time
It's less of a learning curve and more of a learning cliff, isn't it?
yeah, you know, and they just don't, they get scared by that, and it freaks them out, and they don't know who to talk to, and they watch videos, and whilst videos are awesome, as soon as you get to one thing that's different to where I'm stood, the rest of that video is wasted, because I can't ask you why my screen doesn't look the same as yours, or yeah, where's that button, what tab did you talk about, you know, that kind of stuff. The rest of the video is wasted, I feel. So where they come to us, you got a question, it's answered, and you can move on. Yeah, and I think we help people in that way a lot. Like, we've had so many people come to us for setup, and they come in, they don't really know what they're doing, yeah, and they're new and they've managed to connect the drone, but it's all over the place, and you start explaining about rates, and I don't go too far with PIDs because that blows people's minds. But you start explaining about how to tune the drone to you, and not, you know, because my idea of 180 speed is how long, and your idea of 180 spin is completely different.
Yeah.
So that
Totally.
those little things.
Agree the rotation.
For Muppets like me, it sounds like you're definitely doing a bunch of race stuff. But if people aren't familiar with you, could you just give us kind of a 10-seconder of what the race events are and where you're holding them, what the idea was behind this?
Yeah, so what
Just
it is
quickly,
about
please.
helping people get faster and learn how to fly. And I feel you're right. It seems like we're coming across fully race, and we're only about racing, but we're not. We really are about helping people from the very first start to become a racer, or just come and fly for fun. So if anyone, whatever skill level you're on, you're still welcome. It's not about racing, racing, racing. Yes, we do racing on a Saturday night, and we do race practice on a Friday night. So it's all like we're serious, and the timer's on, and everyone's interested in the thing. We do heats, yeah. But the rest of the time is pretty much open flying. We've got 4 channels like everyone else, and you just split your channels up and fly as many as you want.
So are you just racing whoops, or is this indoor like mini quad, or what?
As long as you've got prop guards, we don't mind.
Right.
Yeah, that's the only restriction.
Don't let Tony there with his massive thing and loud.
We're in a
Whatever it is.
tent. So we've had a couple of people flying some heavy 85s, 85mm stuff, like trying to get it HD, but it's heavy, and you're not really going to enjoy that. So you're welcome to, but we don't really rate that. Right now, my recommendation and the right popular thing is like a 65 size converted to a 75. So you get like a Mobula 6 or a Hummingbird, and you'll get a 75 frame, take all the guts out, put it on a 75 and throw 40mm props on. And it's just fabulous. Yeah. So it's
as opposed to buying a 75. So what's the difference? You get different motors?
You do get different motors. So you're going to, plus most people have already got the 65. So we've got a few pilots that are pushing that right to the edge of that 65, like Carby for one, Daniel Carbis. That motor can't do anymore. Yeah, he's pushing it and he can't do anymore. Where's he going to go with that? So the next step for him is to take his guts out and put it on a slightly bigger frame and throw slightly bigger props at it, and he'll get a bit more bite and a bit more grip and a little bit more speed before he reaches that limit again. You with me? So that's quite a popular one at the moment. See, look, he still thinks he can get another second out of it. He's damn fast, that boy. But like, there's a lot to be said about the amount of grip that you're not getting at 31mm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because at 31mm, it's so tiny. You've got great motors. You've got great ESCs now. We're up to 12 amps now. Yeah. Like, you're not going to get any more out of that size of prop. So the logic is to make the prop a little bit bigger.
Right.
Yeah? But you think going up to a 2-inch prop is just overkill? You can't stop quickly enough. You carry too much weight.
Yeah, that's now I need a bigger motor if I went to that kind of size. So I've taken them there now. Otherwise, I'd have shown you. So I made a Sensi frame, and I use a 65mm prop on that. But that's 1100, so it's 1104 motors, and they're bigger but they're slower. It's a lower kV for that bigger prop, and it's fabulous as an outdoor. But when you put shrouds on those prop guards, they do affect us. We have to appreciate that. Yeah. So what are you talking about? Any bigger than 2-inch? Yeah, 40mm. Are you indoors or outdoors? Because if you're outdoors, I don't want shrouds on. I don't like calling them ducks. They're prop guards, even on the whoops. Yeah. So are you outdoors or indoors? What are you trying to achieve with the drone? Would be the question, rather than just a simple answer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just a simple. That's the best.
I was just following that thread of like, oh, you need more prop area, so go from a 65 to 75, go from 31mm or 35mm up to 40mm, get that bigger prop area. But then there's a point where to drive the bigger prop area, you're getting into too much weight. Just trying to figure out.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Like any bigger, it just starts to diminishing, and now if you're going to fly the even bigger prop, now you're moving outside, and you might as well put a slightly bigger motor on. So you're not the converting that I was talking about, just making a 65 into a 75 is lost. That conversation, it's a different thing once you get bigger than 40 mil props. Because anything bigger than a 40 mil prop, you should be slower than 22,000 kV. That's really fast for like a 55, 60 mil prop. Do you know what I mean? It's too fast. Yeah, so you got to slow the KVs down.
So have you got any cars and stuff at race cars?
Yeah, so
or
we
is
do
it just
cars.
literally just whooping?
All right, so here it is. Here's the bottom line and the coup. There's another site where we are on this site. There's a car racing place, Hertz RC, and they seem to have taken objection to us doing any kind of vehicle land-based thing. So whilst we was going to go super heavy on cars just as much and FPV car racing because I love it, we're kind of restricted on that. But that doesn't mean we're not going to do it in the future, because we are looking for a new site. We was already looking for a new site because this was a temporary 6-month contract on this site because on a golf.
So tell us about the site, because I don't think a lot of our listeners would have seen it firsthand. Whereabouts is it? What type of space have you got?
So the site's really nice. So it's Westmill Farm. It's up the A10, left on the 602, second left. It's very easy to find on the A10.
For people that aren't familiar with the A10, where is that?
Oh,
in
sorry.
the world?
Yeah. So the A10 would be North London. You've got London, and there's a main road that goes straight north out of London, and that's the A10. So you've got the A1 over here and the M11 on that side.
You're heading up towards Potter's Bar, that type of area?
Potter's Bar's the next junction over. So we're this junction. Junction 25 on the M25 is the A10.
Right at the top.
Okay.
Great Cambridge Road, it's called.
Got it.
And it goes straight north.
So you've got a farm there with a big barn or something, or what type of space?
No, there's no barn. So there's a farm there, but there's loads of things on site. They've got an art place on site. They've got axe throwing and dog training and rope climbing and kiddie playground stuff, loads of other things. So it's nice and interesting for that. And we've taken the 9th hole of the golf course. So it's a foot golf, not real golf.
Right.
And we've taken the 9th hole of the golf course and we've put up a blinking big marquee. Yeah, so it's a 90-foot by 30-foot marquee. Pretty big. And if you show the picture, that's kind of the stuff that we put inside it.
Oh, wow.
Inside the marquee there.
There is
That's a nice big space.
There's a road there.
So we're seeing a marquee with a lot of hoops. There's a little lit up road, a racetrack with edged with what looks like Lego or something.
Roadway that starts over there somewhere, goes round the back of this tunnel and then round this way, and then returns and goes back again. And we're just working on that. The RX is not quite working for us. And then these buildings are different now. I've covered them.
So there's some cardboard buildings, wheat gates in the middle.
Well, you're supposed to go round the back of that,
right
over the road. I'll show you the video of the track in a minute. The pathway. We've got a high tunnel, a low tunnel. We've got dive gates. We've got hairpins round trees. We've got high things around here. So we've got clouds up the top.
Oh, yeah, it's clouds.
Yep.
There's there's a stylized tree over here that you spiral around. And then this thing here is the Tic Tac Flow, which is these
enhance.
Yeah, enhance. Try and zoom it in. There you go. So that's Tic Tac Flow. So you've got 3 gates in a row, side by side, and then there's 3 rows of that. Yeah, one behind the other, and they automatically change. So it could
really, so they light up one by one.
Yeah, Arduino-y. Could be straight here, 3 this path. Could be 3 in the middle, or 3 here, or X.
Does that change from lap to lap? Then you have to guess when you get round to the lap.
Every 20 seconds, it changes automatically.
Oh my word!
And you can only go through the lit gates.
Well, so if you can manage, if you're all right, you can go through the flip gates. And when we're racing, I go like he's got flow, like trying to give it kudos. But if if you can't, just go through them, because it's hard enough to go through 3 of them in a row anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 of those, that's a real hard target for a lot of people to keep on
It's aggressive.
at speed. But every 20 seconds they do change. So it flashes 2 seconds and then changes, and then holds for 18, flashes for 2 seconds and changes. So we got that kind of stuff going on.
You got power and chargers and heating.
So all the charging is on us. We've got a whole charging station with loads of different chargers there. You just turn up and put your batteries in. We do advise people put stickers on their batteries because they can get confused. There's pilot lounge at the other end where you can just sit down and chill. We've got simulators on the right hand side. There's a little bar where we do teas and coffees and crisps and snacks and stuff. We do the build station bit is in the middle, so where we got like big tables and you can just come and just build stuff, and we help you out and do soldering lessons. Like soldering. We've got soldering irons on site. Soldering irons on site and solder for you to help you out. We've even got a wall. Most of this, I've got to give this to Carlos. Most of this was donated by Carlos, but we do put a lot in there of, like, we've all got old stuff that we're not going to throw away and we're not necessarily going to use. So there's a wall of donatable stuff. So if you turn up and, you might need a flight controller or you might need an ESD or one thing like that, take it from the wall, later on put something back. Put something else. You know what I mean? Like, we've all got stuff we don't use. And that'll grow. You know, like we've even got backpacks and things, like things that people might need, new people, to try and help them out, you know? Just an idea. I think it might grow. So build stations, we've got simulators, we've got the RC cars, like I'm saying, there's an Orlando track way enhance over here. That is actually an Orlando track built by my good buddy Tom Ashley.
What's Orlando?
Okay, so Orlando.
It sounds like what my sat nav said when it's trying to say Orlando.
Crawler stuff, isn't it?
Orlando is a 1/32 scale car, a little bit like a tiny Tamiya. So imagine Tamiya, but on a really small scale.
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry, you're looking at my files. I'm just trying to look for something on a really small scale. Yeah, Paul. And it goes over this landscape. Let me see if I can find it. Got to find the picture now.
We'll remove you until you find it. Just give us a shout in the back.
Plus, I want to see the FPV car racing.
Okay, I'll put that on. So this is the FPV cars. Put that on.
This
while
is really cool.
And you've got the car on your desk to show us as well while we're doing that. To kind of explain. He was running over how this worked before the show, and it's pretty intriguing.
It's not as you expect, is it?
So this, look how it looks so scale. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, the vertical element is what I keep going on about. The upright. So all right, it's just cardboard painted building.
You're like, oh, it's a real city. It's a real city, and then all of a sudden there's a giant monster in the middle.
Ahead.
But the vertical element is what makes the scale speed. It's what's making you believe the speed of it.
Yeah, the little details do make it.
It wouldn't feel as nice.
Oh, it's a monster!
Massive head!
Bloody kaiju looming out the city.
Humongous, man.
Attack on Titan.
And you were racing Carlos. He was driving over the internet.
Is that the Rozzers?
He is still driving over the internet. He's just going to pass me now, and then I start chasing him again. He's about to pass me any second now.
So he's at home, you're at home, and you're racing each other.
Carlos made his own system that runs on, I think this one is the ESP32 one. He made his own system, like he is that good. And so like you can drive, he was letting people drive, he's got a track in his loft. And he was letting people drive over surrogate TV. Have you heard of that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I saw his channel a while ago, actually. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
and he was letting people climb uphill as well over the internet using his car.
It wasn't just cars. He had all sorts of bits and bobs that he'd FPV'd that he was letting people remote control. All sorts of weird games and stuff.
He did tanks and turrets and shooting at each other stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing. But yeah, it's very Carlos.
Oh, the tank stuff was hilarious. Just these tiny little tanks and all with the scale scenery and stuff. It was awesome.
That's really cool. For people who are listening to the podcast, Jim is literally driving around his garage to scale on a racetrack. It looks just so
If
good.
you can imagine a really detailed little train track, like a model train set, this is like that, but with cars. And he's got scenery printed out, so you're driving past backdrops and a crowd with track sides.
So good.
Storage containers under a bridge.
A tunnel
Very
with
tricky,
lights.
Lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Have you moved
Really
this
nice
to Race Castle, or is it going to go to Race Castle, or are you going to put this in your new
It's
event?
the same track stuff. That's the one that you see in the picture before.
Okay.
Yeah, the one that's in the front and goes around the picture. It's the same track stuff. And it's there, so we do a little bit there, but mostly it's flying. Good.
Right.
That's more decoration right now.
It's even a Ferris wheel.
Yeah, I do have a
This is incredibly visual, It's quite hypnotic watching you just go around this track. In fact, not great for our audio viewers, but it's amazing to watch. And I'm wondering, when it comes to quads, you must have a pretty good spectator setup if you've got all this FPV stuff. What kind of scoreboard and spectator video and things like that do you have over at Race Castle? At the Race Castle, yeah.
So we use iLats for timing, and so we've got one screen with just that timings are on, and we've got 4 of the the little sky droids. Hang on, one of these. We've got these. Ooh.
Oh.
Why is that unplugging? These things.
Touching the
Where's the
USB.
camera? That thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've got 4 of those, and on another screen, and we've got a load of screens on site. So
for people that haven't seen this before, I should point this out. This is an eSheen dirt cheap FPV receiver with a USB plug, and you plug it in and it just comes up like a webcam on your PC. It's really handy for setting up analog FPV quads on the bench because you can just put it on your monitor.
And I'll tell you what, we are finding they pick up way more signal than most people's goggles with rubber ducky antennas. When people are complaining,
Wi-Fi antennas,
that thing, but people are complaining wearing their goggles, and we can see them on the screen, and they're like right next to where it's like you're not 5 yards away from where that antenna is to where you are, and you're complaining, but it's great on the screen. It's weird.
Is it because they're using like circular polarized on their goggles, but it's a linear antenna on the craft?
It could be that they're using like patches and things, and we've just got that.
You need to chat to Menace, man. Menace
There
do
is
some
one
wonderful
patch that you can use.
linear patches and
The
stuff.
band-
Interesting, because normally linears work. You only have to go like that far out, and your loss is so great.
Yeah,
So-
That is their goggles, though.
up to
You know what I mean? That's down to their goggle and what they're trying to put on it.
Yeah.
A lot
30
more screw about
dB
that.
loss. Is
So-
there any
so if
lag
people-
with the USB to computer?
yes.
There's a fraction of lag. Yes, I've got to say there is a fraction of lag. Yeah.
Is it something you wouldn't want to fly with, but it's great for spectators?
Do not try and fly. I've tried to fly on this. It's not good for flying, but it's just good for setup and spectating.
It depends on who you are, and like Carlos could probably fly on it. I couldn't. Does that make more sense?
Because he's used to driving on the internet.
Yeah, he's used to a lot of lag. He can deal with lag because he was doing all that setup with. He was flying a drone in his house over the internet. Yeah, let people fly from wherever they was Italy, I think one guy was. Yeah, another guy was in America flying a drone in his house over the internet.
Just like a 5-inch round the living room. No, it's okay, mate. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
It was a whoop. It was a whoop. Yeah, and he did admittedly have his own little secret sauce inside it. Yeah, so there was his secret sauce inside that drone. He had optical flow and other things going on. I'm just noticing in the chat that people are asking about the opening times. Sorry about that, I didn't mention it. We're closed Mondays and Thursdays. It kind of confuses people, but I still run Drone Junkie, and I now made Drone Junkie, so I'm only shipping on Mondays and Thursdays. So yeah, I kind of work 7 days a week. So Mondays and Thursdays we're shut at Race Castle, but the rest of the time we're open. Early during the day, if someone wants to come before 12, 11 o'clock, let us know. But early afternoon till about 10 o'clock in the evening. And Saturday and Sunday we're there from the mornings. And Sunday we're trying to make it like a family day where you bring the younger kids. And recently we've been doing a lot of stuff with the kids where we chase them around, and they absolutely love it.
Yeah,
so we're chasing them around with the drones, and they're like, you know what it's like with whoops, doesn't hurt anyone. So they get involved, and there's a slightly different thing. And if you've got kids, you can bring your kids with you, and you can have a fly, and we'll entertain the kids, and whichever way round it goes.
Do you have a URL for Race Castle? If you're thinking of moving premises, I think we've got some maps floating around in the chat. But if you're thinking of moving, is there somewhere people can keep an eye on your web presence to see what's up?
Facebook. It's only the Facebook we've got right now. Yeah, because we are going to move, and then when we do that, we're going to get to having a URL at some point, and yeah, obviously it's going to happen. But yeah, right now it's just through Facebook, just to keep it in check in one place.
And so if somebody wants to come and fly there, what's it going to cost them? What?
Okay, so
a
session would be a day, and that's just £10 for the day to turn up as a guest and fly.
Very reasonable.
But we are encouraging, because the bottom line is what this whole thing is about is to prove that there is demand, to show that there is something that can work along a gym type model where it's open 24/7, 7 days a week, and people will come at different times to just enjoy the facilities, a bit like a gym. So we do have a membership, and it's £75 for the rest of the season. All right, halfway through the season now, but because we only got a certain amount of time left there. So £75, you get a hoodie, and you get open access. So you can come 7, 8, 10, whatever times a week you want to turn up and fly.
Nice.
Yeah, and it gives you half price entry to the Saturday night race event. So we do charge for a Saturday race event, but members get it for half price.
Cool.
Yeah,
Very nice.
If you wanted to, like, we've got quite a few members. Some of them they're in the chat. I can tell you, and they'll tell you themselves. They'll turn up, and they'll do 30 batteries in one hit. And there's no way you can do that where else are you going to do that? Like, you're going to turn up on a Saturday and have a load of batteries and try and do it in amongst the racing, and it doesn't quite work. So the midweek stuff is where you're going to get your stick time, your loads and loads of stick time. Yeah, and your newer people that want the assistance and the chat through, and like, we talk to you while you're flying round and say, look, that corner there, you went and left it to fly out. If you turned a bit sooner, or turn before you go through the gate, try it like this, or yeah, you're rising early. Talking you through your flights is just as good, because you're now re-evaluating your own flight, and that's where you get to learn more stuff a bit quicker. Yeah, like you flying with purpose is what I call it. Yeah, like, I'm supposed to be going there. As soon as I'm going offline, I instantly know because I'm supposed to be going there. Yeah, so it's like just a different way of flying, maybe, I don't know. But
Yeah.
the point being,
Well-
is stick time is everything.
And I think it's very useful also to meet new people. And I think anybody who's out there and has been in with like a group of guys and rented school halls or community centres will know that that is a pretty reasonable thing. 75 quid for a join in and having as much time as you want is you're not going to get that anywhere else.
No.
Yeah, the only restriction is like if we've got 8 people and we've only got 4 channels, you're going to have to wait for someone else to fly before you can fly again.
Yeah.
Because you take turns, or you say to them, "Let me have 3 batteries," and then you have 3 batteries because you're on the same channel. So we run channels 1, 3, now 5, and 8, and you choose which channel you want to sit on. So you come in and say, "Oh, I'm on channel 8." There's no one else on channel 8. Away you go. Keep flying. You know, so a bit like a pool table. When there is more people,
Put your money down.
You take your turns between your channels.
Man, that's taking me back.
The fun, it's the fun flashbacks I'm having with 10p's on the pool table and on the arcade machines.
Yeah.
That was me. I used to put
brilliant.
those pool tables into the arcade machines. And now I'm doing it with a big tent.
Friday nights.
That's nice.
But like, I feel that the community thing of it is the bit that we're trying to give to you, that, you know, we're there for you. We're just as interested in you flying better than you as you are. Yeah, we want to help you, and you want to come here and fly. Yeah, so it works really, really well as for both sides. For newer people, yes, we've got some damn fast people, and I want to show you his video in a minute because it's going to blow your mind how fast this boy is. And he knows who I'm talking about, and he's already commented. I don't want to say his name until I show the video. Yeah, but he's really fast, and if you've got people like that prepared to talk to new pilots, we're going to win. Yeah, and it's like he's there ready to talk to a new pilot and tell him, help him through, and say like, look, you're doing it like this, or I do it like that, and they can see the differences. These are the kind of things I think we're gonna, where the model works, that you're there all the time, is the point. That you're supposed to be there, you know, all the time.
Well, we know Martian McFly comes up and sees you now and
Yeah,
again.
he's the top boy.
He's quite fast, I think. I've seen him on the
lad.
leaderboard a couple of times.
Very fast, quite
Is he
fast.
just-
Understatement.
Is he number 2 on 3? I think.
He's top of the leaderboard at the moment.
Yeah, well done, boy.
Yeah, but I'm about to show you Carby's video if you want to let me do that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hello, Mr. Fruity Cakes. Good to
So
see you.
this is Carby's video, and oh my word! So this is from a couple of weeks ago. Yeah,
It's like flying like a 5-inch, that thing.
oh, it's crazy how he.
But we need some commentary, Jem. Jem, talk us through it.
All right,
He's
so
going through a hole, another hole. another
He's
hole.
going through gates really
Oh,
quickly.
going very fast.
Yeah, this
go
is
for the drive.
rapid.
See that double blind through race control. See, I can't even
That's
talk fast enough.
amazing.
Back over the tic-tac-toe to spiral the tree, into the gate, into the goals. Now he's in tic-tac-flow, and he's got flow into the red bars, straight over the timer, and that's it. That was a lap.
Bloody hell, that is quick.
It's quick, and there's no room for error on those corners,
No
is there?
room
Or
for
you're into
error.
the wall.
Like
If you-
my favourite parts. So this is Martian doing the same thing, but on that last one with Carby, is if you look where he goes through race control, it's a double blind. So it's blind going in and blind coming out. So I'm just trying to line it up.
It's
for you
pure
to show
muscle
you.
memory doing that then.
And it is just pure muscle memory. It goes over here, then you go round again, and then you come dive gate, round the tree, bang here. This into race control, that line there is blind going in and blind coming out.
And all you're looking at is lights some of the time.
There's nothing to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a tiny little gap in and out, and you just poof. So we've changed that now because it was a bit hard to keep out of race control because they kept flying through. Now you go a different direction, and so I've put a new couple of things up. That's Martian. If we can let that carry on rate flying.
It's those tunnels that always get me, trying to dead stick it through the tunnel and not twitch and hit the walls. Always nudge a wall.
Tunnels, but we love it for that exact reason, for the twitch.
These look so different to what when I was flying whoops. They just look so much.
Yeah, it looks like a 5-inch, doesn't it?
Mm.
Whoops used to be the case of like you sort of potter around a bit, and they were sort of super underpowered, weren't they? And just sort of flying around was good enough. But now it's like these are proper racing machines now.
Oh, look, right in my box.
Changed a bit. Oh,
So there you go.
crap.
That was a full on attack, and I'm still here to. Yeah.
They've been working on that power to weight ratio for a few years. It means the flight time is getting longer though, which is quite nice to see. Like you can have a 300 milliamp and race for more than like 90 seconds.
Yes. They are getting into the 3 minutes ish, just under the 3 minutes at this kind of pace. Like
But what is this? 1S or 2S? This
1S.
1S. Bloody hell. Excuse me. Are you? I like that design as well. That's a nice design.
Thank you. So
is this?
I've just put this in. I've just installed this.
Are you? I like that design.
What's this for our audio viewers?
So this is a ladder and a dive cube.
Nice.
A ladder and a dive cube.
And that's something else you wouldn't have been able to do until quite recently, right? Trying to do a dive with a whoop used to just be the kiss of death, right? Because they couldn't pull out of anything. But now you're able to actually do that, you say?
They're very more than capable of doing that now, of being able to pull through this little loop, where you dive and go flat straight away again. They're so much better. Like they've been so refined now. Like you say, it's almost like you're flying a 5-inch. They've got that kind of pig tuning mindset, and especially in capable hands. People like Martian, people like Carby, Albert Fitz. There's a lot of really amazing pilots out there that are capable of doing it. So if you're a 5-inch pilot, no longer is tiny whoops a different thing. Like a lot of 5-inch were like, oh, it's a tiny whoop, it doesn't fly right. Oh, they only yaw. Yeah. That's gone.
Like it now, yeah.
It's gone. They're diving, proper full on diving, So it's a new way of tuning. I think Project Mockingbird, more than anything, drove that line of tuning for whoops.
That was the spearhead, wasn't it? Saying you can do better than this.
Yeah, and now people are like, well, oh, look, it's possible, and they are really, really tuning them up, and it's just amazing.
What's the hardware limitation? What do you need to?
More than anything, amps.
Huh?
Amps is the big issue, I think, in the whoops. And they was on used to be on 2 amp. Now they're up to 15s, 12s, and 15s. Like they're able to provide it to get that spin up. Because you remember back in when the Inductrix first was the Inductrix, and it had this rubbish little MX plug.
Yeah.
Remember that? The tiny little plug from Horizon Hobby. That became a bottleneck for power. And I think the same thing happens in whoops, is that you when your ESC can't provide enough guff to turn that little prop at 25,000 revs, it's not actually turning it. That motor may be 25 kV, but it's not actually doing 25 kV because there's
because your voltage is down at 2.5 volts the instant you punch the throttle.
There's no guff going into it, and that's what I think is what they've refined.
So what connectors are being used to get the more amps through?
MCPX. So on the screen, that's my favourite plug. Is the MCPX. Love this plug.
Oh, you see, you've not gone for all this hype of GMB 27 and the Beta FPV, whatever.
No, I think that the Beta one I object to. Really, that's reverse pluggable. I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's Chris G territory.
Yeah, that is the actual best. That MCPX, the JS2 2.0.
PH 2.0.
Yeah. That's the best one with solid pins. So you can get a folded pin or a solid.
That's the
pin.
crimped one. So you want the one that's just a bit of a solid bar and not a crimped pin.
Solid bar. Yeah. So there's one that's like folded round, and they do lose it a little bit. The one that's a solid bar is the right one.
How
And you've got
long are these batteries lasting? You say 3 minutes ago,
You
but
can
how
get
many
over
charges?
3 minutes if you're not bat out of hell. You can get over 3 minutes, but these boys are going from 0 to full chat and 0, or they're at full chat for so long.
Mm.
They are kind of
What?
killing them fast.
Yeah, I was going to say the battery's probably 1S, won't last very long, will it?
Well, you've got
50
25,000
50
kV
rounds or
motors.
something.
They're over 2 minutes because we are getting 3s and 4 laps.
50 charges and they're dead.
Yeah, how many charges are they lasting?
All right, so let's talk about that for a second. What do you know about
Batteries are available at Drone Junkie.
Yeah, we sell batteries. So normal batteries, what they do is like, see this little bit of paper. Normal battery is like this on a long sheet, and they roll it up like that, and the paste is all like this, and it's rolled up into a tube like this. Yeah. Nitro Nectar have got little sheets, individual sheet plates stacked up. So it's a very different technology. It's akin to the Tesla one where they've folded tabs over the top of the can.
Oh, don't talk to Jack about Tesla. He'll go off on one.
All right, don't do that then. But so Nitro Nectars are awesome because they're stacked plates and they're not just one long sheet rolled up.
Right.
Yeah, because the way that the one long sheet rolled up, it's got a tab at one end, and all the power has to exit from that tab. The stacked sheets have got a tab on each stack, on each layer.
You're losing me.
I thought those Nitro Nectars were just a newbie drone rebrand of something else.
No, well, they're not. They're a new way of doing it. So,
which seems to be working. Plus, the bottleneck thing's gone as
right,
well. Then.
So normally you get a sheet like that. Yeah, the dielectric, the plastic inside the lipo, and they put all the paste on the top of it. The actual thing that holds the charge, the lithium. Yeah. And then they roll this up. They roll up the sheet like that into a little tube, and they've got a tab at the end, and that tab is your negative or your positive. There's one tab each. Yeah. So what has to happen is all the electricity has to come from here all the way along there to get to the tab. Whereas Nitro Nectars are little individual sheets like that, stacked on
You
top
don't
of
need
each
that bit of
other.
paper.
Yeah.
The sheet is now torn into strips and layered up.
And all of the tabs are joined here. So you've only got this much distance to go with your electric on each sheet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or is it more confusing?
But it only travels the speed of light, Jim.
It doesn't weigh anything either.
It's not the electricity that moves.
It doesn't weigh anything either. Yeah.
I'm sure a charged one weighs a tiny bit more than an uncharged one.
Depends on whether or not you believe in the electron, doesn't it? Yeah. Depends on whether or not you believe in that. Okay.
Electron denial.
Are we going to show the car? That's the car we were driving.
Yeah.
earlier.
So back to the FPV car you were showing. It's a drift car, right? An unusual drift car.
So it's a company from Germany called Drift. DR!FT is their name.
Oh, edgy.
Yeah, very edgy. And they've got 4 wheels that are not powered. These 4 are not powered, but these 2 in the middle are powered. And then this crown wheel is powered. So
I seem to remember something like that when I was a kid.
So the crown is linked to the steering wheels.
The crown is powered, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then these wheels are individually powered. These 2 in the middle. Where is it? There and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've got motors. So there's 2 motors inside this crown. And then that is a metal body. They do plastic body ones as well. And of course we FPV it. Yeah.
Nice old BM that.
Lovely. So the body is actually made by Mini Champs. I don't know if you know Mini Champs, but they've been making shelf queens for years. You know, like you buy the car and it sits on the shelf.
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
So I know in that video you were doing racing. I was wondering what it's like to drift FPV, because I remember our pal Lurgy was trying to get this, and he was trying to get the camera to move in the direction of where he wanted to see. So he was drifting out, but of course that would send you looking at the wrong direction where you really want to be looking ahead of the circuit.
exactly the problem. So yes, it does drift, but you're looking in the wrong way, so you get right confused. I had an idea for how to fix it, but I'm not an engineering video person. But yeah, you could have fixed it somehow. You're right. You need to look that way.
You
I
could
suppose
do like
the easy way is a sort of opposite servo with the camera.
No
As you
space.
turn, it goes the other way.
There's no space.
No
So my
space. Yeah,
idea-
on that it's tiny, isn't it?
My idea was to get a super widescreen camera and only show you a portion, and as you turn, it shows you the other portion.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, I
Head
don't
tracking
get-
the camera.
yeah. I'm not sure quite how, but yeah, the issue with it is that you can't see the way you want to see. But for racing, freaking awesome.
It
yeah.
does look bloody good.
Right, mate.
couldn't you mechanically tie the camera to the steering mechanism itself?
But it's just, where's it going to go? Where's that servo going to go? In there.
No. I mean, like you've got the turntable below the car. You could just cut a hole through
Right,
the car
no,
chassis and
no,
fix the
no,
camera
no.
onto the turntable.
So on top of this turntable, there's 5 or 6 circles and buttons that touch those circles.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, so they're touching it. You know what I mean? Like a
This sounds like
Well,
another Stephen
wait.
challenge after
I
taking
still
on
haven't-
the I can
Still
fly
got the
wing
bits
with a
of
quad.
crap here. Yeah,
Now
I haven't got
you
round
can
to
have-
that one yet.
I can put head tracking on a 132 scale car.
143.
143.
Even smaller. The 143, that one.
What you do with it,
Jesus.
it counts, Gem, don't worry.
I didn't get that. What was that?
Listen, you have to listen to podcasts for that one, Jim.
Well, I'll listen to it back later. But yeah, we
It was the
FPV
wiener
everything.
joke.
We
Right.
FPV everything here. So if it's if it moves, we'll put a camera on it.
So, how long? How long is Race Castle just open for winter because it's like
No.
winter whooping, or are you going to open it up when you move venues for the summer coming?
100%. So we are looking for a new venue, and when we move to a new venue, yeah, we're going to do mini quad, but I'm going to be pushing 3-inch racing. I believe that 3-inch racing gives the most value for your money in racing. You get all of the speed, all of the maneuverability, all the control of a 5-inch for a third of the cost.
Yeah, it's
You know?
cheaper.
It's crazy. Why are you doing 5-inch racing? It's non-offensive at 3-inch. Yeah, it's so much. You brake less. You crash a 5-inch, it's something's broken. You crash a 3-inch, maybe you break a prop.
Mm.
Yeah, why are we not doing it? I don't get it. It's just as fast. We've had so many races, and if it wasn't for the size when you hit me, 3-inch and 5-inch are competitive side by side on the same track. The only time it's not is when you've got a long passage between corners.
Mm.
The only time a 5-inch
It's the Spectator, I think, and 5-inch still kind of fails on that regard because it's too small for a camera to really track it third person. And people are like, oh, 3-inch is too small, you can't see where it is, but you can't see where a 5-inch is when it's moving at pace anyway.
That was the point.
That's why DRL's got 7-inch with LEDs stuck all over it and a huge plastic shell on it.
Yeah, they went to 7-inch. It's a funny size, but it's very visible. So if we're going to talk about spectators, can I mention my thing for spectators is that I think we should maybe go to head-to-head racing and forget all this 4-up racing because it's just so damn confusing. You know, like we did a lot of head-to-head racing when I was with Hertz guys, the Hertz FPV guys, before we started Race Castle, and I've never seen at any other race meeting all of the other pilots get up and watch each other's racing and get involved and go ooh and ah because they could see blatantly who was in front and who was behind. It was that obvious. They was all straight away involved, and because it was a head-to-head and a bit like a grudge match, I'm challenging you, it kind of gave it a reason.
Mm.
And it's like Cobra Kai over here.
I think you want to call it Thunderdome and say 2 quads enter, 1 quad leaves, something like that. Then it would work.
But it's just so much nicer to watch. It's great to watch. Straight away you see who's in front. There's no question. You can follow them around. Yeah. Whereas when it's 4-up racing, who knows? No one takes any notice. I watch them. I go to race meetings and I look at pilots, and they couldn't care less what's going on, other than if they're faster, they're over there doing their own thing. But when it was head to head, they're all up watching it. What does that mean?
That works well as sort of knockout thing as well, doesn't it? Because you have all your pilots lined up, you do a random draw, and they go head to head, and it comes down to a final.
Yeah.
Who will win?
And it worked out really well. They was enjoying it. So there's a few things I'm going to push, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to have 5-inch racing or whatever else it is. Yeah, the norms. I'm, be honest with you, really looking forward to making the look of Race Castle in a bigger scale. That's what's exciting me. Yeah, as much as the flying of it. I'm not going to race. I'm not going to beat anybody. I'm not going to win the championship, but I'll build you the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you've done before, and we really loved.
Quite a few, yeah. Thank you. But I want to give you that look that we're doing, where it's features rather than gate, flag, gate.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make you features.
Bit different stuff.
Like you see there in Race Castle.
Where are you looking to
move?
Where are you looking to move? Do you know yet, or is there areas you're looking, or?
We are looking. I'd like to get halfway closer to the M25. We're in Ware, so it's like 10 minutes out of London. If I can get 5 minutes out of London, I'll be happy. Because there's a lot of people in London that it's just that bit too far for them. Yeah. But like, I would do any kind of racing. Like, I've recently been talking about tanks and stuff. So if I put a camera on it and we can have fun with it. Drift tanks, battle tanks, but FPV battle tanks. That's never been done. So if we can, if we can do stuff, the battle tank and how we're going to make it work and how am I going to build a village really excites me. These are the things that gives me the kick. Because I wouldn't want it to just be in a field. I'd have to have little buildings and hills and things for you to hide behind. Otherwise, what are you doing?
I've got an FPV ripsaw under the desk here. I can't quite reach it, but I've always been looking for some sort of course that I could race that around on. Slightly different to a car course, just something to let rip with that. Might be a giggle.
Yeah. So what I'm looking for is, I don't want to say playground for big boys, but kind of, if you want it in a sentence, is that you come to me with an idea and say, look, Jem, here's the idea and we want to do this and we've got the space. Yeah, why not?
Well, I think I saw a comment earlier about, do you have a crawler place, which is would you have a course for that? Because that's really interesting to try FPV, because you really have to sort of think, where am I?
I would like to do my little dream place would have a bit of foresty next to us, and I would like a trail that you're FPVing in and out through the forest and back out again, like a set place. It's not hard to do. I don't think it's hard to make that, but there's your set trail, and then the next step would be to send that off autonomously. So you do like your big track, program your crawler, and send it off.
We might have to mention what a big track is for people under the age of 40.
Oh yeah, for the youngsters. Yeah, back in the day, our toys were.
I always wanted that thing.
Oh, it was a great time. But look
it up on YouTube, everybody.
With waypoints and things like that, iNav. That's what we're doing with these actually. So these two big jobs here, they're very cheap. Not like we're buying expensive gear. It's not about expensive. What's good about this is the height of the drop. Where are you? There you are. Yeah, it's the height.
Yeah, that get over some stuff, won't it?
Joy. And then we're going to send this off autonomously. Lee, my co-founder, has already nearly finished his one, and he's got iNav on it and all that, and smart return to home.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Watch your car headbutt a wall for 10 minutes till the battery runs out.
Yeah.
I think wasn't the idea with iNav, if I'm right, return to home on crawlers would just like goes straight towards you. There was an idea at the Smart, I don't know if it's there yet, about basically repeating the way it came, basically turning around and going back exactly the same way, which is pretty smart if that works.
Sure, if you're a plane, but if you're a car, you went downhill and returning's uphill. Does that work?
Well, as long as it knows the coordinates, if it's sort of logging coordinates of where it was long and lat and tries to go back that way, that could work. There's going to be room for error.
Gates can open and gates can shut and things like that.
I think that'd be interesting to watch.
The other thing is that if you notice those, they kind of don't do a smooth turn anywhere. They go and then they do a sharp turn and go. It's like they overshoot a little bit and do a sharp turn. Right. Kind of overshoot a little bit and do a sharp turn. Will that work in a track? I'm not sure.
Guys, Andrew / Frank is here.
Hi, Frank.
Big tank, yes. Forward one, left forward three. Yes, that is exactly what it is.
Please come back.
They'd have a little keypad on the top that looked like a little calculator.
Yeah, I remember it.
Just a little number pad on the top, and you tell it to go forward 10
to program
right.
it.
Yeah.
And it delivered an apple
did you
to
get my
Christmas
Christmas card?
Yeah, if anybody had the big track and the trailer that would go along and flip up, that was some bits of programming that to get that through your hallway into a different room, deliver something, and come back again.
Yeah, it didn't have the trailer, but yeah, the big track was good. And I'll tell you something: either they've shrunk, or it was a lot. It was
medium track.
You got bigger.
I got bigger, but it's so much smaller. It's not even like 1/8. It's not even biggish. It's just like medium big.
They made it look big.
Huge to kids.
Oh yeah. Tailspin brings up again for very old people that used to go to school and had BBC Micro. If you remember the Turtle graphics, it was the same sort of thing. Oh. You had to program it to go forward 10 and turn right, and then you could draw pictures on your screen.
That almost stopped me being interested in IT whatsoever. Almost put me off having a career in IT. Because we had a computer science teacher who insisted that everyone should learn Acorn, but he didn't really know anything about computers. He was just a maths guy, and so he spent all his time telling us about drawing stuff with this turtle and nothing about actual computers. Yeah, very frustrating.
Very similar computer teacher. He told us to go and be a bus driver.
There you are. Right. Aim high.
Yeah.
There's no future in these computer things. Be a bus driver. That's what you want.
Bus driver. He was serious. He was supposed to tell us about computers.
I had a for like my home room. I had a science teacher, and he didn't believe in global warming.
Was your science teacher Tony? Did he think the Earth was flat as well?
I can send you links to prove it's global warming.
There's a lot of people that don't believe in global warming.
It's a left-wing conspiracy.
I think it's natural.
It's a left-wing conspiracy made up by
he left to become a pilot.
It's just a way to make money out of thin air, bros. What are you talking about?
I'm finding the link and sending to you.
Disclaimer: we don't believe in any of this rubbish that we spout.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm up for doing a Linux challenge. I'm thinking about dailying Linux. Can you think about a distro for me?
Just start with Ubuntu. It's easier. Don't try and be fancy. Just stick with something that's simple. And Ubuntu
don't get involved, Stephen. Walk away. You
It
can't
may
retain
really be
any
too late.
information.
I was gonna immediately try and steer us towards tiny racing with the new Diatone FPV car, which is a 1/76 scale tiny thing. I thought that looked unusual.
I'm disappointed. Am I allowed to be disappointed?
Yes.
Am I?
What are you disappointed in?
In the Diatone FPV, let's just stick a camera on top of a car. Let's really take no effort whatsoever and not even try. Let's just get a stock shitty camera and whack it on top of a car that we've cloned from someone else.
Well, I had to say, when I saw the car, I thought the car was interesting. When I saw it with the FPV camera, I thought someone had just like, oh look, I've put a camera on it for a bit of a laugh. I didn't know that was going to be the product, because it does look like the camera is about the size of the car. It's a little
And
bit...
if you look at TBS, they've still got an FPV kit that converts these size cars and actually conceals the camera inside the body with a tiny camera, which is
possible.
A much neater solution.
Well, and if it's possible for a home solution, all right, TBS, all right, Chappie is very good, but for a home solution, then it's possible for a factory. So for me, that's super disappointing, and they're going to charge good money for that, and people are going to say, "Oh yeah, it's great," but it's not. It's just, sorry, it's a poor effort.
Fair enough. I'm inclined to agree. It is a bit of a clone product. It's an interesting clone product, but it's a kind of a
totally
lazy clone
from Turbo Racing. That's totally that's a...
There's been a couple of them recently, though. This isn't even the first clone. There was another one that was like a little 4x4 truck that came out, wasn't it? A couple of weeks ago.
Racing. No, it's a
that was Turbo Racing.
They've got a Mini. They've got a RX-7 and a little monster truck, and all of these come from Carlson. So way back in the day, probably about 15 years ago now, a German company called Carlson made a bus, a VW bus, and that was fully proportional, and they were selling them for really expensive money, and I think their contract must have run out. I did have one here somewhere, but a 176 bus, VW bus. I must have taken it to the castle. And that's now, that same technology for the steering is what the whole issue is the steering. Is now Turbo Racing's new Mini, and then RX-7, and now monster truck that you've seen. Sorry, a bit of history.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So everything coming else.
It's very hard when you're looking at products that have come up, have been invented kind of the other side of the world, to actually figure out which one was the first one. It's interesting to actually hear.
Yeah, Carlson was the first. Carlson. They did the Volkswagen bus, the VW bus. I have one, just don't know where it is.
Jack, fire!
I'm on it.
Make Jack iller.
Interesting evening. At least it ended with a flourish. Thank you, Caroline.
This one. Can you show
and we'll pick up Let's Linux out at another time.
That was the first one. This was made by Carlson.
187th. Oh, all they've done is just pick a slightly larger vehicle and put it on the same physical size chassis, haven't they?
Yeah, the chassis is very, very similar. What's similar is the steering, the way that the steering works with a motor and half of, or well, actually a quarter of a gear. Imagine a quarter of a gear spur, it's got teeth, and that's the servo is in the chassis. There's no box for the servo. Yeah. So that was the first, that beautiful little thing. And now Turbo do it. Anyway, back to me.
You'd have thought if they were going to go for something FPV, they would have gone for a bus, and they could have actually stood a decent chance of putting a camera inside the box then.
Yeah, it would have been very nice, but they've never done FPV. Like Turbo will have no inch. I'm still trying to get him to do an FPV something. And
TBS still sell the kit for converting it.
Yeah, well, it's essentially their Nano and their little tiny. Do you remember the tiny Whoop Nano? Do you remember that? The one that Jesse made, little black thing.
Yeah, it's a camera that's smaller than anything I've seen on a Whoop from the pictures, and it looks really tiny.
So it comes from this drone. This is a tiny Whoop Nano.
I do remember that.
And it's smaller because they took away the gap between the props. On a normal Whoop, there's a bit more gap.
So the camera on this, maybe it's just got a different lens, but
so there's a bit more gap in between the props, and they just took the gap away. Does that make sense here?
Yeah.
There's no gap, and there's no gap. And that camera is a TBS camera, and
well done, Jack.
it's like a little triangle shape. pop that canopy off.
Oh, flyingtech.co.uk do seem to sell it ready to go, or
What, the
is it
camera
not
or the
actually
car?
fitted? Well, it says car fitted with FPV camera. They've got a picture on it though, annoyingly.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
TBS 128 RC car fitted camera, and it's 130 though, mind. So maybe they're just fitting it themselves. But yeah, it's a bit crazy.
They're charging you £100 for the camera because the car's only £50.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's a bit of a rip. The kit is $110 from TBS. So I guess they think that amount of labour is a fair amount. It's a bit steep.
All
Let me
right,
see if I
guys.
can do it, share.
Should we call it there? We've been 1 hour.
Yeah, otherwise the
1
editor
hour
will
and 5.
charge us even more money.
Guys, thank you so much. Jem, thank you
you.
so much for tuning in.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting me rabbit on a bit.
No,
That's very
it's
cool.
been amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you to all our Patreons. Thank you, Caroline Taylor, for donation. Thank you for everyone who donated last week and nearly choked me to death. You've been listening to Let's Drone Out. We are Let's Drone Out. Everyone's favourite Curry Kitten.
Goodbye.
Shiny Video Stephen.
Thank you. Good night.
I'm Bright Until I Fly. Jem from Drone Junkie.
Thanks a lot.
And my darling wife, Tonesetter.
Bonjour.
Thank you, guys. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Hello, RC Labotics, Carby, excellent flying, Tailspin. Nice one, Cole, for the nice layout. Clive, Richard Warwick, Michael, Robert, Mini Rolls Rule, Martin McFly, excellent flying as well. And yeah, thanks guys for everyone who tuned in. It's good to see you again, Mr. Fruitcakes. And Frank, please, everyone,
Get well soon.
Get well. Come back. We miss you so much.